for this building and so on. In the late 80s, when Professor Harbans Mukhia was the chairperson, many of you would have read Professor Mukhia, this famous debate on feudalism, how feudal was Indian feudalism. You would all know about it. A very eminent historian, he was the chairperson of our center. It was at that time that the UGC scheme for awarding special funds to departments of excellence, which were called a departmental special assistance program. This was mooted and CHS applied for that departmental special assistance, and we were given the grant after a very rigorous process of scrutiny, evaluation, and in that scrutiny and evaluation, the publications of the faculty as well as the research that was being done by our students, the nature of courses, the teaching, all of this played a very big role. So in that sense, this money that we got for the departmental special assistance is actually resting on the laurels of the center. It did not come because of any other mechanism. It was purely because of what was seen and appreciated as the achievements of the faculty and students in the center. The program also allowed for some funding for expansion of faculty strength, and otherwise there could be a negotiation for using that funding in some other way. Our faculty, though it would have been detrimental to their own future in the sense of promotions, the possibility of positions and so on, they preferred not to have extra faculty positions. They preferred that a grant be given instead for the building of a library, because no good institution can exist without a library. And we felt that there were specific needs for history, for historians, for budding historians, for our researchers, which required a special library. And that is how then this proposal was mooted for a building, and it was duly approved. In the 90s, many of our faculty members, I think Professor Satish Sabarwal at that time was there, who was instrumental in designing the layout, the planning, talking with the architects and so on for the building. Other younger faculty were also involved in this process, and so we had a building that came up, but it, over a period of time it was felt that the space that had been utilized, the building itself, was inadequate, and therefore we needed to expand that building. And so there was an expansion. So I think it is this portion that first came up, and then there was an expansion on the left hand side towards the advanced study and HRDC, that side, and on the first floor. So there were funds that were sought for it, and this was granted. And by this time, there was in the UGC the proposal that after you utilize a departmental special assistance, you can apply for a Center for Advanced Studies. And CHS again was one of the few institutions in the country that was awarded the Center for Advanced Studies status, because of which we were able to get some funding, because of which we were also able to expand our building. So that is broadly the history of how this building came up. And one of the wonderful things about this library is that many of us, in the course of our own research, we would go to libraries abroad, we would go to libraries within India, where it was very difficult for most of our researchers to go. Let's not forget that we are talking of times when travel was not as easy as it is today, and information is not a click away. But what we did was we did collect a lot of material from various places, and we brought it to this particular library. Over the course of time, because of the kind of resource crunches, we also found that our central library was unable often to accommodate our interests in terms of even courses and have them kept here. You will find that there are also a lot of photocopies that are there. This is primarily to help students to facilitate their studies over here. So what we have is a library that caters to different levels, where for the MA coursework we have material that is available, but we also have very important documents and so on that are available for the research level. Now, the issue of the library itself and how it has had its problems is something that all of you will understand and will be cognizant of yourselves. Because of the pandemic, there was a closure of the library. During that time period, one of our staff members who had been a part of this library for several years unfortunately lost his life. He died.